And that is 30 seconds. Welcome. So, thought I'd sit down for a little bit because I know people wonder, and Dion goes through his stuff, and um, I always threaten I'm going to leave. And what it was is I need to find a balance in my service work, and I did. Um, I cut back on a lot of it. God was like, Dion, I need your attention somewhere else. Something keeps coming up, so it just keeps coming up. Um, yeah, just curious about something. Whoa, I turned my head too fast. All right, that's actually a good read. Maybe we'll do it also. You know what? That might be a fun place to start while we're waiting on people to get here. Let's do that. Let's do introductions real quick. I'm going to do this, and as people, and I'll try and tie it together. That'll be a good challenge for me. If you're here, please say hello. Live, rewatch. Okay. Let's just over to chat. Kind of expecting some things. So. I think I confused somebody. So, all right, we'll get it taken care of. In many respects, the fellowship of the program is like a reasonably happy cruise ship, or in time of trouble, like a convoy. I'll go with the convoy. I'm not getting on a ship with that many people trapped. Not a chance. I don't mind being on this cruise ship, but not. All right. But in the long run, each of us must chart his or own course through life. When the seas are smooth, we may become careless. Give the same diligence no matter what's going on. Give the same effort. You know what? What it comes down to is just doing the best that you can. That's what it comes down to. Just doing the best that you can. And because what's cool is your adventure is going to be different than mine. Life's going to be different for you than it is for me. That's the beauty of it. If it was all the same, man, how boring. If we're mindful of step 10, however, then we rarely go so far that wrong that we can't make a few corrections and get back on course again. This talks about starting your day over. Starting your day over. Ah, ah, refreshing. If we're mindful, step 10, yeah. Do I realize that regular practice of step 10 can help me bring into a happier frame of mind and into serenity? Yeah. And you can start your day over whenever you want. Even if it's the end of the day. Doesn't matter. Right before bed, don't go to bed with a bad attitude, man. That's tough because you'll probably wake up with a bad attitude. And that'll be hard to change. Today I pray may step 10 be the sextant by which I read my whereabouts at sea. I think sextant's like a I want to the globe keeps going. No. Anyway, it tells you where you're at in the sea. It's one of those things where you see them put the little thing around on the map. That's what it is. I'm probably wrong. So that I can correct my course. Rechart it as I'm heading for shallow places. May I keep in mind, if it weren't for the all-knowing captain and the vigilance of my fellow crew members, this ship could be adrift, and I could easily panic. Today I'll remember to steer by a steady star. I don't know if that helped bringing people on because it doesn't give me a count anymore. So, um, you know, I find, let's talk about the club real quick, which I think I'm just going to turn into something else. I don't know. It's just a name. I haven't really paid for shit for Club Trudge. I'm not going to, I have an EIN. I don't need another one. That concept was the idea of going into the church and starting these meetings and things like that. And we were doing it Tuesday, Thursdays, but I found it was too much. That was still too much. So, Tuesdays we still do it online, and Thursdays is just going to be family night. And it's just going to be that simple. It's just going to be that simple. If it's going to become more, then God will make it more. But every time I try and push the club, it gets pushed back. There's a resistance there. And it's not coming from me. Right? I gotta listen. Right? Get it. I go there, I'm inconvenienced, I'm this. So what is that? That's my expectation being interrupted, right? So even last night, Al-Anon did great. I'm gonna have to give up my big room upstairs. I had 2 people online, but it didn't change anything this time for me, which was cool. We had a meeting, not a regular meeting. Okay. But I find that it's just what it needs to be every single time. Big, small, medium doesn't really seem to matter, right? Because the true intention of starting that club was Alateen. That was my whole intention. We don't have any Alateen, so I kind of snuck it in there. Alateen's our prevention. I know this. See, if you haven't been a part of Alateen, you don't know. These are the kids that go and say, my mom and dad, my mom was a real bad alcoholic, and I had to go through this and this and that. She sobered up, which was great, but you know, if you have a family member that's like that, I'd be willing to talk to you. There it is. There it is. Prevention. What else does prevention do? It plants a seed. Maybe this person isn't ready to talk about it yet. But if you let them know where they can go, it's a really good chance that when they're ready, they'll remember it and they come back. AA is comprised mostly of people where the seed was planted and they came back. Okay. What was that done through? It was done through prevention. What else is prevention? Um, when you get a DUI and get sent to those AA classes, that's prevention. We are preventing you from drinking again and getting back in the car. That's prevention. Okay. Preventing is stopping you from doing it at all. Okay. Prevention saved my life. I was an Alateen when I was young, and I was taught that an alcoholic can have an addicted personality, and this person can be addicted to almost anything. Okay. Fortunately, that was not me. I tried drugs. I tried drugs, but I never stayed consistent on them. At one point, I was getting into some cocaine. It was like once a month. And I'm fine with that. I don't want. Then it became every weekend. And when my friend showed up on a Wednesday, even though I was still a drinker, I knew We had gone way past the point, and I told him, get out of my house. I can't be friends with you guys anymore. I cannot do drugs like that. It'll kill me. Okay. And I stayed away from hard drugs. Love ecstasy. My brain still loves ecstasy. See how late I got? Ooh, ecstasy fun. Yeah, gotta stay away from it. I have willpower when it comes to harder drugs. Not everybody does. Alcohol, no. Right? So, what has happened in the last couple of weeks? And I said, God, I'm backing off on my service, but I need some direction. What do you want me to do? And of course, I'm also going through this. I'm going through this because I just had a whole listen to God's children intention conundrum when I should have listened to my intention or to my instincts, right? I should have listened to my gut. Now that doesn't mean anybody did anything wrong. Okay. People were trying to heal. Okay. And the person that we were trying to help just didn't fucking want it. They just want to be left alone. Okay. We tried, but that's okay. So, you know, I kind of got my answer, and the answer was podcast. It's what it was. And I said, yeah, God, but how do I know if it's you talking to me or if this is just more bullshit? Even though my intuition is like, yes, that is correct, made me happy, everything else, but I had this little doubt. And I'm like, God, I have doubt. I'm willing to do it. I'm more than willing to do it. I love podcasting, but I don't always get to do the things that I love, even though I do what I want. I don't always do what I want. I'm mostly doing what God wants, but that's what I want. So therefore, I'm covered. And in the last week, 3 people have reached out to me about starting podcasting or taking over podcasting. So that's where we're going. Yeah. I'm finding my place where I belong. People are giving me opportunities on it. Um, I'm being given a chance over at Sobriety House where, I can do a lot of good with it. And I'm really good at it. It's my number one forte. Interviewing is my number one thing. I'm really good at it. Uh, you know, I know why. It's a very long story. Right? Yeah, I've been watching people all my life. When you don't have friends, what you have is time. Okay. And I had a lot of time. Almost always do. I almost always have time. But that makes me available. I give up one thing for another. It's part of it. I like it. It works for me. You know, like my son, he needed to go make a run real quick. It's hard to put the kid in the car when you're just going to be gone for 10 minutes, things like that. And we could be available. Now, what Shannon watched him, but I don't know. So, you know, I guess where I belong, or at least with what I'm doing with a lot of my service work, will be online. But I can't forget that I have a community. Um, I'm actually kind of disappointed in my district. I've reached out to them several times, and nobody in my AA district will even write me back, and it's weird. And when I find out when and where the GSR meeting is, I'm gonna go. I'll be like, "What the fuck was that? What was that, man?" Okay. Um, Storytelling is the number one way to bring hope. In fact, in the big book, it tells you that you're supposed to share your story. It is part of service work. Sharing your story is the 12th step. It's service work. I was told, and I try to see, I do so much now that I don't do it, but if you're not a person that speaks on the regular, then your job when you have an anniversary is to tell your story. You're supposed to give it away, especially that 1 year. It's really important that you share your story at your 1 year. And I always tell my sponsors to do it. Most of the time they don't. And they come back, they're like, why do I feel like shit? Because you've not given it away, dude. Okay? When you finish the steps, you gotta start sponsoring. And if you have a fear of it, you don't trust God. It's hard to sponsor other people because you feel responsible, but you're not. That's your ego talking. That's your pride. Well, I don't want to hurt them. That's just pride in reverse. It's still pride. I can't help. Bullshit. Bullshit, you can't help. You're here. You're helping me. Right? So, you know, my other thing is, well, how am I going to do this? I don't have a lot of followers and things like that. And twice this week, somebody has told me, and this has been from two people, they're not going to lie to me. And they said, Dion, you are affecting so many people and you don't even know it. And I still don't know it. Oh, there's a little thing up there that says try new studio. I bet it's got the counter in it. All right. I'm going to go pretty myself up. I don't know that I'm going to chance to get to a meeting. That's kind of why I'm doing this. So I will find now. If it means I need to go on a 24-hour meeting after the concert, if I need to, I'll do that then. But I will go to a meeting. So I think I'd like to go one before, but there's nothing that's, All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you ever have any suggestions, if you want to come on, tell your story. If you have a topic, let's do it, man. Let's do this shit. I love you. Peace out. And